Yeah. So Dynasty happened this Sunday in St. Louis, and it from just me watching it in live time. I was a little behind. I'll explain that, but super solid, very very fucking solid pay per view. I don't have the matches in order. I do just have the matches. I have all the matches. I'll just go over what I thought about them.
Okay. Yeah, I can see it.
To get it off, right off the back, we're gonna do Hook versus Chris Jericho. And funny enough, this is the one that I missed out while it was happening live because I was behind maybe like 30 minutes, maybe 20 minutes actually. So when I originally checked this one out today, it wasn't as bad as what people thought, as what people made it seem. I think the initial problem with the match is that people were just tired of Chris Jericho, and that's just fine because everybody's sick of seeing Jericho. But overall, the match was great. It gave me like WWE old school hardcore championship match where it's just chaos inside of the ring. There's not ladders, but there's table spots, suplex spots. Inside this match, Hook showed up pretty well. He did a pretty good job in this match. I think he kicked out of two. I forgot what Jericho's like finisher was called.
The Judas effect, that one?
Yeah, he kicked out of 2 Judas effects, and like the only person that kicked out of 1 was Mox, and he kicked out of 2. So it made him look like this kid just has like an unbeatable spirit. Chris tried to do the whole, I'm sorry, I don't want to do this like spot, similar to kind of like, the Michaels Ric Flair bit. He came in this match wanting to teach him, wanting to help him become better. How that works as far as like, you defending him or defeating him and taking his title, I'm not too sure. But like I said, overall match was really good. I enjoyed the match. I thought it was great. When I went back, I was kind of like, oh man, maybe this is going to be the match that kind of like takes it away from a 4-star pay-per-view to maybe like a 3.5. And no, it kept that at 4-star. There was nothing wrong with the match at all.
I mean, there's a lot wrong with it. It happened. We could start there. We can start with the winner.
But isn't an issue because it's Jericho. If you swapped somebody else out and ran this story, is it a problem?
If we're talking about, are we saying the same story beats as far as like being my tree, let me push your dad, if we're talking the same story beats, and the plot is the same, I'm going to say yes, but it also really depends on it does depend on the wrestler. It does.
Okay.
But we know Jericho at this point. We like the fact that he trademarked the Vortex, which was a thing that the internet was using as an insult to him in his feuds for the last 4 or 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that he trademarked it let us know, like, okay, one, he's paying attention, which most wrestlers do, even if they say they don't.
Absolutely.
If they're not on Twitter, they have a friend that's on Twitter. Like, he's paying attention. So the fact, him trademarking, like, you're in the Vortex now, you're in my whirlpool, you're gonna be fucking feuding with me for 3 months. Like the fact that he's acknowledging that, like it makes it kind of, I don't know, to me it makes it a little irritating. That, and also just the booking of it, it doesn't make any sense. To answer the question, I would say, oh man,
if it was Daniel, if it was Bryan Danielson, he's the learning tree, and he was saying that's who he was. Would that be an issue?
No,
and I'm gonna say
that's also
no.
Daniel Bryan, because that's
exactly
he's goated. Like that's,
but
Daniel Bryan is really goated.
In that same essence, Chris is on people's like Mount Rushmore. Not on mine personally, maybe not on yours, but he's on people's list of like being one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. Like, and I can't take that away from him. I can't take away the history that Chris has done. It's just right now, I just don't want to see a lot of Chris Jericho. Like, and that's just where I stand, and where all the fans stand. Because during this match, there was go home Jericho, retire Jericho, Fozzy sucks. Mm-hmm. Like, the fans are sick of it. They are definitely fed up with seeing Jericho.
And he's one of those people that'll be like, any heat is good heat. That's good heat, brother. Like it. And I'm sure he was in Hook's ears, like, yeah, you're gonna get your win back. Don't worry, you'll get your win back. But I don't know, man. This story, it doesn't make any sense, and I feel like it's Man, I don't know. I will continue to let it play out, but I'm already checked out. To be real, like I was checked out. I mean, I officially checked out last week when he pushed his dad and he didn't do nothing. All he
I
said was,
think
"I'll fight you anytime, anywhere, nigga." Right now, he just pushed your dad right in front of you. Your dad
right,
can't
right.
walk. Like, I mean, he can, but it ain't that good. So the fact that he pushed him, like, no, that's fight. Like, like my mom got into a car accident a couple years ago. Like, her legs are some of her weak spots. If someone touched her legs, that's an instant fight for me. Like,
Yeah,
you touching the weak spot, like
going
I'm
at it.
beating your ass. Like,
So
it's
like,
like I don't know.
I will say that
I have the card in
this
order
week
too. If you want to go in order after this,
we can do that.
okay.
I will say that like a lot of it does depend on who he's going against as well. Hook just doesn't really have a lot of charisma with his character. So I feel that the fatigue can come from both sides. And as far as like where the story is going, this week's Dynamite gave me some theories that I want to kind of like talk to you about when we get to the Dynamite. But yeah, it was a good match. Going into it, people were just tired of Jericho. I believe the first match was Okada Pac. That
Okay.
was how
So
they
real
opened
quick,
the show.
so we had 3 matches in the pre-show. Real quick, what we should talk about.
Yeah.
Or we don't have to go into depth, but yeah, 0 hour.
Yeah,
There was titles for titles. We had the AEW Trios titles with the Acclaimed and Daddy Ass versus the ROH Trios titles with the Bullet Club Gold, Jay White, and the Guns. The results of that is, I believe, the Bullet Club Gold. They won, and they're unifying those titles, which is good because you don't need 2 sets of Trios titles. Just too much shit going on. After that, we got Matt Sydal versus Trent Beretta. No idea why this match was happening, but it happened. Trent
and the
won
other
this
one was
match.
this was and there was another match during the 0 hour. I think it was like Shane Taylor Promotions, SCP.
It was Orange Cassidy and Shibata versus Shane Taylor and Lee Moriarty.
Okay, yeah.
And I don't. Where's the results of that? Cassidy and Shibata defeated Taylor.
Cassidy they got that one. Show opens with Okada Pac, Continental Championship, Continental rules, which means there's no outside interference, and this is just us scrapping. Wasn't too familiar with like Okada, like I didn't watch a lot of New Japan, so I don't know what to exactly expect. Match was very technical, not a lot of spots, not a lot of like super like surprise this happened, but it was just technical fucking wrestling. It also like had me really sit there and acknowledge Pac. Like Pac is a crazy fucking athlete, bro. The fact that like he almost didn't come back, almost had due to having a semi career ending injury. It's just the wrestling world needs him. I will say that Pac is really solid. One good spot in this is Okada goes for his Rainmaker pose and flips the crowd off, and that was crazy. It was a good pop for the crowd.
And my mom's side's from St. Louis, but I believe Okada was correct. They don't deserve that pose. The fuck y'all got? Ribs? You guys got ribs. Congratulations. Bryan actually have really good fried rice. I need to but yeah, all you guys got is ribs in a big ass arch that no one gives a shit about. You don't deserve that pose. Nelly, you guys got Nelly too. I'll give you guys that.
Okada gets the win with this. He's there's like Pac does this crazy flip. He gets hit with the knees and it gets popped up or they go into the Rainmaker. So Okada gets the win on this. It was a great fucking match. The crowd's chanting, "He's our bastard," which is kind of cool. I mean, as a fan, as a wrestler coming back to like your first pay-per-view, like you want to know that you still got it. You still love it from the fans. Overall, solid match. Shout out to Pac. Like he's fucking great.
Yeah, Pac is great. I refuse to call him Pac. It's Pac. Pac is great. Pac. Yeah, my only thing with Pac is that his visa. I don't know if it's visa issue or what. Like he'll show up for like 2 months and he'll be gone for 6, and it's just the inconsistency with that. But Pac he's been solid since day one because he was part of when he left WWE, like he was one of the first people in AEW. Like, if I'm not mistaken, that was Kenny's first feud in AEW. and they had like a banger like 3-match feud or whatever. And the first time he got a title, I want to say was the Jan 6 show that we went to the other year, 2 years ago or whatever. And that was his first title. I want to say that was like the trio title, or wasn't it? It was the trios title because they were beefing with it was the Death Triangle versus the Elite.
Yeah, and they ran like that 7-match series.
Yeah,
into like Full Gear.
Yeah, because
or the LA show.
Yeah, they that was during that feud, that 7-match series. That's when they came to Portland.
Yep.
Yeah, I just wish he was. I just wish he was in the States more consistently, because there's no reason he shouldn't have been TNT by now or any of these other random like Pac is Pac/Neville is he's amazing. He's amazing. Like when I first started watching wrestling again in 2015, he was NXT champion and he just lost it to it was either Sammy or Kevin. I think it was Sammy. And he was on the main roster and he did some good shit. It wasn't the greatest push, but he had the cruiserweight title for a while and that shit was fucking lit. And then he went to AEW. He had some bangers, but I just need him in the States more. Get your visa up, or whatever whatever.
I mean,
or do what Ospreay does and fly back and forth all the way. Share the plane.
Visa situations are, I would only imagine, very fucking probably just irritating to deal with.
Yeah, I bet. Which is why we see Riho every 6 months also, and it's just and I mean it happens at WWE too, but
because you got to go back and sit at home for a little bit in order for them not to fuck your shit up. You can't just have this visa sit over here for 2 years and then go back and forth. There's requirements and shit like that.
Right. And then we had the CMLL shit the other month where half of them had to go back. It's just, I don't know. Maybe they need to hire someone specifically to make sure everyone's visas is on up to date or something. But we just need
they book a show in one of those countries. Maybe AEW books a show in Mexico. I know we talked about it. We sent it in the group chat to where they lost one of their TV stations for AEW in Mexico.
Yeah, I guess we could have put that on the news docket. Yeah, it seems like they lost their TV. Okay, well here, according to the general manager of Collision has announced that AEW programming has been so. He says the message is to inform you that the reasons for is beyond AEW's control. Our broadcast in Latin America will no longer be through VIX. Only Mexico is exempt until right now. But yeah, Dynamite, Rampage, Collision can't be seen on AEW Plus on Fight TV. They'll have more details soon. But yeah, essentially people in Latin America somewhere, they're not able to watch the show anymore unless they, probably use a VPN or something, which is unfortunate. Yeah,
right.
It's unfortunate.
Hopefully it all gets figured out. Second match on the pay-per-view was Cope, Kingston, Mark Briscoe, or in your words, the regular guys, versus
average ass
House of Black. This match was 1,000% a setup for Cope, Malachi Black for 1v1. That's all I'm seeing out of this.
That's all that should
happen. Wasn't too crazy, but I will give a lot of credit to Brody King. Mark Briscoe did a lot of work. They were working their ass off this entire fucking match. Even Buddy had some solid spots, and just in general, House of Black is just mad fucking consistent. I think all three of them are fucking great workers. Even Julie, when Julie is healthy, is a great fucking worker as well. Yeah. If there was a match order I'm ranking, this one wouldn't be too high on my list, but still enjoyable, still entertaining. Ends with Cope getting the mist into his face. House of Black comes out with the win. Like I said before, this is definitely setting up Double or Nothing, Copeland, Malachi Black, which I think that's gonna be a banger match for sure.
And if they keep the story, or not to keep the story, but if they continue the legacy of that mist and getting that surprise right in your eyes, that means Copeland is going to turn heel soon if they keep that tradition. Because everyone who got the mist it's similar to when you fight the Fiend or when you fight Karrion Kross. Eventually, your character slightly changes a little bit. There's something about fighting them that affects you. So We might get heel Copeland soon. We might get that rated R superstar, baby.
Cope is a better heel than he is a face.
Yeah, he is.
I will go on record and say that.
I mean, that's not even a hot take. That's a real take. That's just a take. Facts. It's just it's not even a take. It's a fact.
Not a spoiler. It's a fact. I think the next match on the list was
we got the TBS champion.
The Willow
versus Julia.
This one I felt bad because I know Julia's still hurt. It was a very quick match. I think it was maybe like 6 minutes, but you can tell Julia was trying to do the best that she could with whatever she was going through. Solid match. Willow's super fucking over right now. I think Dr. Bomb might be one of my favorite finishers currently in wrestling. I don't know why I like that. Maybe it's just because it's a variation of a power bomb, and I just love power bombs. But love seeing the Dr. Bomb. Willow gets the win. CEO immediately comes out and spoils like the moment for Willow. And I definitely think we're getting heel CEO because there's no way you're getting heel Willow. So if anybody's turning during this feud, it's definitely Mercedes Moné, and that's fine because I think she's a way better heel than she is a babyface.
Yeah, that's also just a fact, not a take.
From there,
I do have a gripe. I guess I don't want to say gripe. A nitpick. I just because it came out. Julia was hurt. I want to say it came out around the time that I joined the show. So she's been hurt since February, and I feel like, and Mercedes didn't debut until mid-March. I feel like the smarter booking decision would have been to get the title off of Julia and put it on Willow already. So then when Mercedes comes into the company, Willow already has the title so that it doesn't feel like she's being hot shot to the title. It doesn't because the story is this ankle injury, which they've taken weeks to explain it. But the story is she feels like Willow injured on purpose. When we get into Dynamite, Willow finally responds like, "Bitch, did you really think I did that on purpose?" I just feel like booking wise, it would have made more sense because Julia Hart is clearly injured, and during this match, it was quick, but for most of the match, Julia was beating the shit out of Willow, injured or not. Willow was taking a lot of bumps, and
she was selling.
Yeah, she was selling, and it didn't need to be a squash or nothing. But I just feel like booking wise, story wise, I feel like it would have made more sense to get this title off her so that Willow already had the title, because the promo that they cut on this Wednesday, that when we talk about it, it felt like a promo. It should have happened 4 weeks ago. But now it's happening, and they just could have did it a little differently to where it was more smooth.
There is
that's why that's why I'm saying it's a nitpick. It's not a gripe, but they could have just did it a little more smoothly. But the right person won, and hopefully Julia gets some rest. And now we build to this match at Double or Nothing, and we'll see how that goes.
From there, I think this is where we get the core combat, the Roderick Strong Kyle O'Reilly match.
Yes.
Okay, going into this match or going to this pay-per-view, this was the one I did not care about. I was like, oh man, I don't know these guys. I've never seen it. This is number 2. This is my second favorite match of the pay-per-view. I am now a Kyle O'Reilly fan. This guy's fucking amazing. It definitely superseded my expectations, especially if I'm not familiar with how they work. Super entertaining match. The boys, you can tell that they've been wrestling each other forever. That chemistry between them is just, it's fluid. Yeah. It's like Kyrie Irving and the fucking basketball, just dribbling. It's so fucking effortless. Roger Strong might be one of the best technicians when it comes to performing backbreakers. That man knows how to sell a fucking backbreaker or perform a backbreaker.
I mean, his nickname was the Messiah of the backbreaker, or it is still, I think. But
the Messiah of the backbreaker, that's fucking cool.
Because he has multiple different. His moveset is wild. Yeah, and when it comes to working your back paws, his moveset is wild.
Yeah, man. I can definitely see that. Roderick Strong is fucking amazing. He's good. And I'm kind of mad because, I didn't see them as undisputed,
You didn't see the Undisputed Era?
Nah, I didn't see that, so I don't know what the fuck they was really about. But yeah, really dope match. Loved it. Roger gets the win in this, but something interesting happens at the end of this. So like, he gets the win. He's celebrating. Undisputed Kingdom theme song hits. We see everybody come out. Wardlow, Taven, and I forgot the other guy's name. But
Mike
we get Bennett, and we get Adam Cole in the wheelchair. Not in the wheelchair no more. Man stands up and walks down to the ring. So glad to see Adam Cole finally going to the right path of being healthy.
Right, which is interesting because it was literally like last week or the week before we announced that like, oh, they're taking him off of TV so that he could heal faster. So I'm guessing that was a work, or maybe it wasn't.
I'm pretty sure we got worked a little bit.
But at least he's walking.
Yeah, I don't think he'll be ready for like All In or nothing like that. I'd be kind of crazy to be like, you just got back on your broken ankle and now like All In August you'll be ready to go. I think that'd be kind of pushing it, but we'll see.
All In might be. All In might.
You think so? Like in August, you think he'll be ready in August?
Maybe. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. Because we got Double or Nothing before All In,
right?
He might be ready by All In, but I don't know. It really depends on the story. It really depends on the story.
That's
because I don't want to bury the lead, but as far as like who wins the championship and then what Ospreay does on Wednesday, I don't know. It's kind of confusing, but he might be ready by All In based off of what we've seen on this show and Wednesday show. I don't know.
I would be all here for it. Like, I think him being ready by All In would be great. I just don't know exactly like the extent of his injuries and like what he's dealing with, right. Besides the ankle. I kind of jumped over a little bit during the Kyle O'Reilly match. Wardlow comes out. He's supposed to be there for interference and whatnot. And I'm like, okay, well, he didn't really do anything. He didn't interfere or nothing. But as we get to the end of the match, Adam Cole is burning daggers into the back of this man's neck. Like, there is definitely a story that's going to be told between Adam Cole and Wardlow. Probably because Wardlow failed to accomplish what he was supposed to be or supposed to do, which is, get the title, bring it back to Cole, like just not performing his job correctly as like the muscle of the group. So definitely be prepared for that. There's been rumors or like talks throughout the wrestling community about like maybe Wardlow teams back up with MJF when MJF comes back, but we'll see.
That makes no sense. I don't know.
Yeah, like we'll see. I don't personally like the idea of MJF and Wardlow together again.
It would not make any sense.
But yeah. Next match I believe was it Storm and Thunder?
No, that's when we got the Hook and Jericho match, but you already talked about all of that. And then it's Thunder Rosa and Timeless Tony Storm
with Thunder Rosa. First off, this is where I put this women's match. Great women's match. Definitely, as far as like the month of women's matches that we had in both E and AEW, you can definitely throw this one up there. They put on a fucking banger. This is probably the best that I've seen Thunder since she's been back and been healthy. And this is probably like, we're in like a good like prime era of Toni Storm in this character. These women just went out and threw out a banger. This was a really good fucking match. Just as far as like also like character wise, like Tony's coming out with this weird makeup. It's kind of like she's semi-deranged a little bit. Maybe like she's cracking. Maybe the character is breaking a little bit, which I kind of expect that like as this character moves on with Toni Storm, that she does become a little like disillusioned with like reality, as she already has been. I just think it gets a little bit more like deranged, not in the sense of like spooky deranged, but just more so like, oh, she's fucking off her rocker. She's really off her rocker. This was solid. It was a good match. She even does something which I don't see a lot in women's matches, but it was really funny. It's like low blows in women's matches are wild to me because the crowd reacts as if like, like they say, oh, man, you got balls. I'm like, oh, but
yeah, that's because most of the crowd never touched a woman before.
Anywho, man, like that shit was funny, and I was like, I ain't never seen somebody do a low blow. I think the commentary called it a clam jam.
Jesus.
In the match.
It is funny to piggyback on what you said, though. It is funny because, yeah, WWE, AEW, and I want to say TNA have all done women's low blows in like the last month or so. So it might be a new trend. It might be, yeah, the clam jam.
It could be. It's clam jam.
The clip hit. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Oh man, that's funny. You gotta get a counter. How many clam jams has there been in the month? How many moose knuckles been hit?
Flopian dystopian. Bro, we can
dystopian.
You can do this all
nuts, yo. That's crazy. Oh fuck. Great match. Definitely enjoyed it. I think we also get into like, this week's Dynamite where the story kind of evolves a little bit.
Yeah.
After that, I think this is where we get the Bryan Danielson Will Ospreay match.
Yes, according to
okay.
Yeah, go. Yeah.
All right, here it is, man. That's just a great fucking match. I think I went on Twitter, so that's the greatest match I've seen, and I am not joking. I think like if you love action, if you love like anime, like it was very, very much so like that shit is an anime. Like it was great. Yeah, just insane action, amazing spots. There's an Os cutter into the knee strike that was just fucking insane. You got to do yourself a favor and watch this one. And I know that they wanted people to watch this one because somebody dropped on Twitter like the full match, and that shit was up for hours. Like
and I watched it that way.
Like
it's like 32-minute banger.
Yeah, 32-minute match, bro. It's fucking great. Like it's definitely a good nod to like, the past and the present, to where like, you got the master, which is, Bryan Danielson, and the new dude, Will Ospreay, and they just went out there and fucking shredded that shit. Like the cinematic ending where you're in the corner, about to hit the Os cutter, he's going for the knee strike, and they just go at each other. Like, fuck, bro. Like, I wish that I could rewatch the match and have the same feelings I had while watching it. That match is so fucking good.
And that's the thing, though. Like, as good as this match is, and it was good, I'm not gonna. I mean, there's some people that I'm fine with being on the match of the year contender, and I think it will be. I think when we go to the end of the year, this is going to be in a top 5, top 3. Most people will definitely say it's still top 1. Me personally, though, and this isn't me trying to be my usual downside on AEW, but it's like, to me, it's not a 5-star. And I don't even rate matches like that. But to me, it's not a 5-star, and that's because there's no story to it. And that's
I knew that was going to be your part.
And that's the down.
But there has been, though.
There hasn't, dude. The story, like, there was no build to it. Like, they were face to face in the ring maybe twice, no talking. The whole story was, I want to be better than this guy, so I'm gonna wrestle another person that he wrestled, and I'm gonna beat him quicker than he did. There's no story to it. So also there's no incentive to it. There was no, like, they both were essentially faces. They, like, so there was, like, so as a fan, like, it's like, who do you want to win? You could ask for any, like, honestly, it didn't matter who won, because you like,
and I think that's the best part about it, though.
Right, but that's what makes it hard to rewatch, because there's no, like you said, you wish you could feel the feeling that you felt when you watch it again. The reason why you're not going to get that feeling again is because there's no story to, like, there's no story to it. It's just a good ass match. because like the
It
reason why we watch no, it's a great match. That's fine. But since there's no story to it, it's hard. You're not gonna get this. That's the reason why you're not gonna get the same feeling, quote unquote, is because there's no story to it. Yes, it's a great match, but you're not gonna like. It's the same reason we watch movies. Like you watch a movie again because you like the movie. You like the story of the movie. That's why you rewatch the movie. This is just a good ass match. Great wrestlers having a great match. But since there's no story to it, that's why you're not going to get the same feeling. Are you going to rewatch it? More than likely, sure. You love both these wrestlers and you like this match. But the reason we're not going to get the same feeling that we got when we first saw it is because the lack of story. That's what I'm trying to like. It's a great match. I'm not trying to take away from the match.
I hear you.
I'm saying like the lack of story means it like it's hard to get that. Like I can watch Kofi Mania, and I'm not saying it's on the same like story wise. It's better. I'm not match wise. I'm not going to say it's on the same caliber. But the reason I can rewatch a Cody Roman 2 is because of how I felt when I saw it and how it made me feel. And then going through the months of watching it, like when Cody Roman 2, like that was a 2-year build, but like Kofi Kingston, that was like 5 months of him getting fucked over. And then like when you see the match and it's like, oh man, like, yeah, it's just the lack of story.
I'm 50-50 on it. 'Cause I definitely hear you, and I definitely agree with what you're saying as far as like there was no like long process of we're building this big grand fucking match, right? But I also appreciate the fact that I'm not being strung along for 6 weeks, 7 weeks, 8 weeks of man, I just want these dudes to get in the ring. I appreciate what that does for certain people's like builds. I think you need that for like a certain individuals. For this one in particular, you just knew it's the young goat versus the old goat. Go for it. It's a dream match, and I'm okay with that. That's probably where we were leaning more into, where dream matches don't really need story for me. I need to see y'all get in the ring. Cause I'll say like prior to like seeing this match, like let me just start here. Yeah. Right now, this is my bar. Like this is if you gotta hit this for it to be like match of the year, in my personal opinion. Prior to this was Takeshita Ospreay. Prior to Takeshita Ospreay was Kenny Daniel when they did the little 60-minute draw. Like all those matches didn't really have story to them. They just dropped you in and like, let's just fucking go. That's just how I sit with it. I know that like,
and those are good things, but the rematches, if we ever get rematches, they're not going to hit the same due to the lack of the story.
But
at this point, it's just a rematch.
How this one ended, though, I think you get your story implements with the way this one ended. To where right now he hit him with the Tiger Driver, right, and then hit and blade him. That's how he won. That's how he won the match. And to where right now in the press conference he has said he's retired the move because of what it did to Daniel. You're getting the story elements based off the way the match ended.
Yes, I think I do agree with that because when I tweeted about it, you replied to me and you said I think it's a work. And looking back on it, yeah, it's a work. But this is the 4th time that they did this with Bryan since he's been in this company. Or at least 3rd, to where he gets. I mean, he's been real injured there, but like this is the 3rd time for sure that he's been quote unquote injured and having to like have doctors on him. Because there was one time he had a fake seizure or some shit, which is scary. I don't know why they would even pull that story, but yeah, okay. So like the story is at the end of the match, he's gonna. Yeah, so the story probably, can you beat me without doing that move? Is that compelling to you? Like, is that a good? Can you beat me without like that's like Vegeta like going to Goku? Can you beat me without doing a Kamehameha? Is that the story we want to see?
I think the story is like as we watch Ospreay go through what he's going through right now, till we get to the eventual like rematch with Daniel, he's not gonna do it. I think in the match where he goes against Daniel again, he's gonna do it again. I think that's where we run into like the story wise. Right now we're in the story phase where Ospreay is not doing it because like this week he had a chance to do it against Kyle O'Reilly, which also one of those ones where you should not do that move to. No. But he's doing it to where like I don't want to do it. After what happened to Daniel, I don't want to hit nobody with this move no more. That's the story. We're getting the story right now through like the episodes of Dynamite, Collision, Rampage, and whatnot. And then eventually it will lead to Daniel Ospreay too, which I probably would assume will probably be somewhere near the end of the year. We probably won't get that until
right. And then he's not going to hit the title. He's not going to do the driver, and Daniel's going to win. And then when we get Ospreay Daniel 3, he's going to hit the Tiger Driver again. But this time Daniel's going to kick out. That's like,
that's not story.
I'm just saying this. It could have been better. They could have added to it if they would have. Because this has been like a 4 or 5 week build. If they would have added some other layers to it instead of like, because Daniel was off of TV for like, or he was mostly on. They had like 2 face interactions. All I'm saying, like, the story could have overall been better if they interacted more. Whether it's face versus face, whether it's heel versus, like, if they interacted more in the beginning before this match at Dynasty, and then you play off the things that we just talked about, it makes it even a bigger story. Like, your story shouldn't start at the end of the first match. Your story should start before the match starts. It's all I'm saying. Like, it's still not. I'm not saying it's going to be bad. It's just it could have been better.
The build could have been better. The match is fucking amazing, but the build could have been a little bit better. Or maybe, let's say he doesn't fight Daniel. Maybe like he's fighting Wheeler Yuta, who's also part of the Blackpool Combat. I mean, he did fight Claudio. So, I mean, he did kind of touch inside, like, you know, the BCC, like, members and whatnot. It just wasn't like, we didn't have a clear-cut define who was the face, who was the heel in this. And sometimes I'm okay with that, but I do agree that there should have been a little bit of a better build because of how big this match was. If there was a build to this match and this match came out and performed like this, it's unfucking stoppable. I think it's already semi-unfucking stoppable because it's that fucking good. But I think it would have caught you if it was like a 7-week build and then they threw this shit out there.
I mean, it didn't have to be a 7-week build. It's just like, because, okay, this is, Ospreay had the match with Kushida, then he had the match with Fletcher, and then he had a match with Hobbs. And in one of those 3 matches, one of those first 3 matches, that's when Daniel came out after the match, and all they did was stare at each other. And then the following week, he's like, I'm going to fight Shibata because you fought Shibata and you're the best, and I'm going to prove I'm better because I'm going to beat Shibata quicker than you. And then after that, they didn't have any interaction with those just 2 characters. So it didn't have to be a 7-week build. Like, I'm not trying to make this company WWE or anything like that. Like, it doesn't have to be a 7-week build. No one has to cut 50-minute promos or nothing like that. But if the build was done a little better, it wouldn't even matter who was the face or the heel because there was a story. They both could be faces. They both could be heels. That part doesn't fucking matter. Like, there was just there was no reason for them to fight other than, oh, I think I'm better than this dude, so I just want to fight him. And then the story doesn't come out until after this banger ass 30-minute match, and then now we're gonna play on months of this. And it's like, you guys could have started building this in before to where, like, there was that time when Kurt Angle and Brock were both like friends and they were just trying to out-compete each other. Like, I don't know, there's just random.
There's ways that you could have spun it.
There's ways that they could have spun it to where, you know, like the 4 or 5 weeks before this match happened, it's like, okay, cool, we about to get this match. We get the match that, like, the match goes exactly the same. And then, you know, he's like, I want to retire this move. I hurt someone who I respect and someone who I love to compete against. Then we get number 2. He doesn't do the move. Daniel beats him. And it's like, see, you can't beat me without using that move, you know? And then we get number 3, whether there's a title line or not. I don't know. There's just other ways. They could have just built the beginning better. There is a story. You're not wrong. There is a story, but the story doesn't come until the end of the match. You know, it's just,
I think it's just like, this is the beginning of their story. Yeah. I think that's what it is. Because I do agree with the fact that, like, the second time they meet up, Daniel will beat him because he's going to hesitate. And you can't hesitate against somebody like Daniel whenever this match happens. So the story is definitely happened at the end. We're probably going to see this happen 3 times for sure. Overall, love this fucking match. This shit was fucking amazing.
It's a great match. But my last thing before we move on. Mm-hmm. I have no problem with people saying this is their favorite match of all time. I have no problem saying people saying, oh, this is the best match of the year. Mm-hmm. But there was some people that were saying that this is the best match to ever happen on U.S. soil. And that it doesn't need to be talked about, but that shit needs to stop. Because that's fucking wild. That is
it though? Like, just playing devil's advocate. Is it like, I mean, I would have to go back and think about all the matches I've seen in the fucking U.S. But like, if this is how they feel, which is also a little bit of recency bias too, because like, bro, y'all just gotta relax. Maybe sit with it. I'm a fan of people sitting with shit and then coming back to it. You know, saying it's the best match in U.S. soil day of doesn't really sit right to me just because it's like it's happening right now.
It's the same thing that we talked about when I was like, yeah, like a Drake album would drop at 9, and then at fucking 9:20, it's the greatest album of all time. Yeah, it's like what?
No.
It's like what
Sit
the album is a 40-minute album. How the fuck you say that in 20 minutes into it? Like,
yeah, sit with it. I agree that people should sit with it. Go back, rewatch it a couple times. Wait until the end of the year. When we do our end of the year list, I will go back and watch all these matches that we have nominated, and just kind of figure out like how, like if the feeling still resonates for sure. But yes, greatest on American Soul is kind of crazy.
It's extremely crazy. This is better than Stone Cold versus Brett at Mania. This is better than like fucking Owen and Brett. This is better than fucking. There's so many matches that happen on American soil. To me, like, look, this isn't better than Kenny and Bryan. To me, I like the Kenny and Bryan match better.
I see. Fuck, this is gonna be really hard, bro. Because I'm gonna end up going back and
Sasha Bailey in Brooklyn NXT. That match was fucking fire, and this is not better than Sammy and Gunther to me.
Sheamus, Gunther, Drew, banger. Like I gotta watch these matches and kind of like really figure it out. But I will say, it's in the realm of greatest match of all time for some people. It's in the realm for me,
and that's fine. But I'm like on American soil, nah. That's where we like y'all got to cut the shit. Like it could be your favorite match of all time. That part is fine.
Though. They might not be wrong
on American soil, nigga. No, on American soil, the greatest match. No, man, I'm not hearing that shit.
No, bro, I don't know.
This like
it's good. It's fucking good.
Right, but. Man, I'm like I don't know. I cried Cody Roman too. That's emotion. Like Kofi Mania, I cry. Like I'm going to give I will whether even if the match is like 10 minutes shorter, I'm going to give a match more credibility if I'm actually emotionally involved. Like I can watch a popcorn. Like there's popcorn movies like something like Godzilla versus King Kong. Like yeah, I'm here to watch just carnage. But Godzilla -1, that's a fucking masterpiece. Like.
But yeah, I think that like it's like you said, like the emotional connection to the matches, like, and I don't know what works for you may not work for somebody else, and that's just like that's okay.
And that's the good that's art, and that's the good part about wrestling.
That's what it is, exactly. That's what it is. It's like I could sit here and be like, man, I really love Kendrick Lamar to Pimp a Butterfly, but I really didn't like Take Care from Drake, and people will have their discourse about that. It's just art, bro. It's like both of them are fucking goats. Like it's just art.
Yeah, but there's limits to the egregiousness of claims. That's all. Because you're a huge Wayne fan, aren't you?
I will, not necessarily a huge Wayne fan, but like I'm familiar with Wayne. Wayne is definitely probably the greatest rapper of like my childhood, like teenage years for sure.
Okay, what if someone said, "Fucking." His rock album was better than No Ceilings and the Carter 3. Isn't that
subjective? Because it's art.
It's subjective, but it's like there's limits to.
It's wild to me.
It's wild. It's just a wild statement. It's like, can we at least talk about this?
It's art. Can we? Are you sure? Like,
can we at least like talk about it? Let's break it down a little bit.
It's just art. Everybody has different things that they draw out of these matches, and I love the fact that we're talking about it like this because that just shows you how far wrestling has came, bro. Like for you, it's emotional connection. For me, it's just in-ring storytelling. They're both the same, like part of the same realm. Like it's like fucking freestyling and versus like fucking what do we call it? Like battle rap. It's like they're all in the same fucking like aura, bro. It's all rap under one umbrella. This is all wrestling under one umbrella. Whether you like it the emotional way or whether you like it just get in the ring and show me the story.
Right. Well, I mean, that's the thing, though. In-ring storytelling is storytelling, and they had no story to tell other than they're just trying to be better than the other person, and that's a fine.
And what happened at the end? Yeah,
and that's a fine story. There's plenty of animes where it's like, I just want to be better than you. Like that's why you have a rival. But usually there's a story to it. Like the Goku Vegeta, there's a story to that. Vegeta wants to be better than him. He wants to prove he's better than him. That's why he has a rivalry. Naruto, Sasuke, like there's story like. It's fine if you want to be the better person. It's just like you got to build up to that part. It's just like this nigga showed up in the company. He's like,
because he did show up and he did say he wanted to be like Daniel. He did say that like everywhere I go, I hear this guy. this is the guy that everybody compares me to, and I'm here to show you that I'm better than this guy. They just didn't elaborate and expand on that.
Well,
Like they should have.
And the problem was because Daniel didn't really expand on it because he wasn't on TV that much. Like Will Ospreay was on TV every fucking week, and I don't know. We should move on to the next match. But this is it is a great match. I don't want people to think I'm hating on the match. It is a great match. Saying it's the best on U.S. soil, that's where I'm like, nah, you guys are fucking bugging. But is it a match of the year candidate? Absolutely. We definitely when we do our show, whenever we do our show in December, we will talk about this match. It's more than likely going to be on the list. But best in America? Man, come on, you guys.
No, that's reminds me of that Olympian talking about USA basketball. Y'all best in the world? Nah. Next match, which is actually a very interesting spot that they put this match, and I kind of respect them for doing it, is the Bucks versus FTR. Like they went right after Daniel Ospreay, knowing that they probably can't compete with that, and they didn't compete with that. Still a good match though.
No, and sorry, real quick. In hindsight, what they should have done was do this match, then the Swerve Joe match, and then Bryan and Ospreay and Bryan.
Because I'm not gonna lie to you, that match sucked the soul out of everybody else. Pause. Like nothing that came after that could have topped it. Nothing.
No. And I don't want to be disrespectful, but like after this Ospreay match, yeah, it should have that's when you should have did like Willow, Julia, or something. Something like you need a cool down match.
We can't give them that. No. Don't do that to the women.
Well, it's
do
just
that
because
to people who can survive it, yo.
It's just because it was only like a 5-minute match. Like all I'm saying is like you need a cool down match. You need something like because you're like at this was a 30-minute adrenaline high, and then all of a sudden you give us a ladder match, which you're like, it's you need something to come down. Like that's why it's called having a cool down match. Like when you have a banger like that, you need something to cool down, and especially if it's not the main event. Like they needed something. You don't have the Daniel Ospreay shit, which was literally like a fucking Smash Brothers EVO match, like fuck it, like some crazy shit, and then go into a ladder match with some high ass stakes, some crazy spots, and you get a crazy reveal.
Yeah, and I'll explain that too, how I feel about it. Because like Bucks FTR for the AEW World Tag Team Championship match, they came out hot. They knew what they were going up against. They came out hot. There's a early fucking ladder spots. Dax ends up busting his shit open like mad early. I don't even know where it fucking happened. I just looked up and the motherfucker's like already leaking.
Yeah, reportedly he has a concussion. I'm not sure how.
Probably that would make sense. That would definitely make sense somewhere around here. He had a dope pile driver on the ladder. Wheeler was being the fucking lucha in this and doing crazy fucking suicide dives and everything. Bucks had an EVP trigger on the ladder. Just overall, match was entertaining, really good, and it wasn't entirely like too long. And that's what I respected about this match, is that they condensed whatever the fuck they were going to do, and just got straight to it. As we see Dax climb out the ladder, we see a fan jump the barricade, pushes Dax off the ladder, gets rushed to the fucking corner by security. Bingo, bango, bongo. Jack Perry is fucking back. And I got thoughts because right now, like he's fucking hot. Like the crowd loved it. The crowd was into it. They were shocked. He ends up leaving and throwing up the Elite 3, basically signaling that he's part of the Elite now. Really, really fucking solid like spot, or really just solid like pop. I think it was the best time to drop him in this, especially after all like the Punk videos and all that shit. Like he did it pretty well. The thing that I will give the Bucks like credit for is that they play off of the critiques that they see online. So this doubles back to what you're saying about like Jericho paying attention online. All of them do. I think when the whole Punk shit happened and they saw the reception of like, oh, these EVPs think they can do whatever they want, the Bucks saw that and it was like, no, that's a story. Let's run with that. Let's run with us just being the evil EVPs. They already look at us like that anyway. This should be an easy fucking transition. Same way to the scenario of like Perry and the scapegoat shit. He didn't turn that into his whole identity, which is honestly kind of ironic because on Punk's way out, he ends up making a bigger star, like, or making somebody bigger. He put somebody over on his way out unintentionally. Like, without the whole scrum and the video and all this shit, we don't get scapegoat Jack Perry. That's a character. He's now making money off of the scapegoat shit, which is just fucking like insane when you think about it.
It's insane to the yeah, and that's where it's like Bryan Danielson. These fans are fickle, man. It just doesn't make any sense because when has it ever been cool to be beaten up on camera and you get praised like in anything, like whether
the
it's
rules
just,
is different over here. It's
like,
different.
It's like that to me is just wild. And also,
like, people have an emotional connection, whether you like Jack Perry or the Bucks or Tony or whoever. They can draw emotion from people. And if you talk to any wrestler, they always tell you that's the most important part. Being quiet is dangerous. I want to know whether you like me or you hate me.
And that's
if
why
I can get either one of those, I'm good.
And that's why I think Chris Jericho was fine with what happened in that match. That's exactly it. But the other thing is, like dead ass, like when Punk got fired, everyone in that, like, who loves that company hated Jack Perry. They hated him. And then we see the footage of him actually getting beat up. And now we love him? Like, what? To me, that just doesn't make any sense.
I don't know how that shit works.
He literally was hated to where, he stayed in Japan. He's been in Japan for like 5 months. Like, people,
8 months.
8 months. Fans hated him. Like, fans of this company who love this company.
But then his shit sells out. And then the next week or the week of this pay-per-view, the Jack Perry merch is on AEW now. So it's like he's selling merch. Like, it's like, I don't know how this shit works, bro. It's just hella entertaining. Like, they are over on Jack Perry. Like, Jack Perry's white fucking hot. Like, it's fucking insane. One of the pillars is now white hot. 2 of the 4 pillars have done their job. Easy.
Yeah, about fucking time.
Like, yeah. I mean, better late than never.
It needs to be consistent, though.
It does. And that's why this Wednesday is very important.
This Wednesday was good, I suppose.
It's very important how they push this. How they do this can make or break anything. Very fucking important to pay attention to how you choose Jack Perry's next move, because you don't want to like fucking swallow him alive. Pause. Yeah, and I have some thoughts about, like, we'll get into when we talk about Dynamite. I'm trying to breeze through this because we've already been talking about it for an hour. After this, we get the Joe Swerve match for the championship. Prior to this, and this week, I did my research. I went out. I saw where, because the moment that it happened, there's a lot of tweets. Not a lot of tweets. I think a lot of them were like either retweeted from you or liked by you, to where now he chooses to be black, XYZ, XY. Just things about like Swerve and his black community and his blackness, which I'm not going to talk about, like how he feels about black people. I don't fucking know. But I did my research and I looked up where it all stemmed from. I went back and I saw that it came from a list from the Black Wrestling Podcast. Shout out to them. I checked out a couple of their episodes too, to where all they do is big up black superstars. That's their thing. Like, I fuck with that. Like, putting out a list either in June, from June this year to June next year, or whatever, how they do it. They just put over black superstars. He had an issue with being on the list. He was saying there was definitely some contradictory, maybe some lies that he was telling, to where he's like, oh, they put E over somebody, but Big E was like number 4 on the fucking list. Not dwelling on that. But I think it had more to do with his placement on the list than the actual list itself. And he just did not like, it was crazy. I ain't gonna lie. I watched it and I listened to both podcasts, because he was talking on Kaz's podcast first about it, and then the Black Wrestling Podcast talked about it. And I checked out both, and I'm like, yeah, it was some weird shit. That was definitely fucking weird, to where it's like, yo, all they do is big up you. All you have to do is hit them back, like, yo, like, what's the criteria about this? Like, why am I 19 and they over here? Like, what's this about? Instead, I think on one of the episodes of the pod, they said he blocked them or whatever, and on the following list, he's not on the list because they don't rock with him. Rightfully so. Do what you got to do. I don't know how y'all business work. If that's how y'all feel, and that's what he wanted, cool. Let's do it and move the fuck on.
Oh, yeah, that's what he wanted. He doesn't want to be categorized as a black wrestler. He wants to be categorized as a wrestler.
He wants to be categorized with everybody, which also I can understand. But at this point in time, their whole podcast is bigging up black superstars. That's cool.
Yeah, and in a time, because we're talking like this is like after his release, so this is during pandemic. This is during all like the protests and shit like that. So this is a time,
right? So it was definitely heightened for sure.
Yeah, black people want to uplift other black people because we need to be uplifted at this point.
Very much so. Very, very much so.
Right.
Yeah, that's how you felt about it. That's what it is. But yeah, like, I just want to say, I did my own research. I did my homework. I checked out where it stemmed from. I will agree, it was definitely a little weird. But that was now, at this point, we're looking at maybe 2.5 years ago. He could have a different opinion on it. I don't fucking know.
Oh, well, I mean, okay.
Anywho.
Did you look up the Black and Ugly song or lyric?
I did see that too.
Okay.
I saw that too. I heard the clip. I heard the soundbite. I didn't hear the whole song, so I don't know how that bar was delivered. Either way, still a little cringe to me. I wouldn't have said that shit, but I'm not this nigga.
It's not like we don't like. I haven't heard the whole song either. It's just a weird that like making that the part that you clip and put on the internet. I don't know. you could have clipped any part of the song. I'm assuming.
I don't know. I got to hear the whole song with the context, but I heard the clip. The clip is kind of crazy, but I can't judge you on the clip. I got to hear the whole fucking thing. I will never hear the whole thing because I don't know unless it comes to me. I'm not looking for it, but I will agree. A little fucking crazy. We get into the Swerve Joe match. It starts off with Nana coming out, doing like the Swerve dance. He shows up in the Killmonger costume, and wearing like the robe of one of his friends that passed, which I respect. That shit was fucking hard to me. Overall, this was a good match. It wasn't like amazing. I think it was only good to me because I was expecting so much more like intensity, especially with the way that their storytelling was. Their storytelling was, I'm going to get you chains, bleeding, like the whole nine. And then we get this match and that really wasn't. Yeah, that really wasn't the theme of this match. Wasn't the theme of this match. No. Still a good match, but the way y'all promoted it didn't equal out. And the thing is, it doesn't even have to be like bloody either. It just has to be brutal. You're in there with Samoa Joe. I expected like just monstrous like fucking shit. Not blood, but just maybe he's thrown to the steps. Maybe there's a table spot. Whatever the case may be. He ends up doing a powerbomb to Joe off the turnbuckle, which then sets up the Swerve stomp, and then Swerve becomes like champ. Overall, how I feel about it is I think it's dope. I love the fact that he got it because he got it organically. It wasn't an AEW from the jump. He came in, he worked his ass off, he lost his ass off. He had spots with a lot of different like wrestlers. He had the Keith Lee tag team. He had the whole Rick Ross moment. Like, he has worked his way into his fandom. I respect that because it wasn't like given to him. You would never have said that like, oh, Swerve's going to be AEW champion when he came into AEW. I mean, that's my first thought would have been like, Hobbs.
That's what I saw on the internet. But
that's not me.
That's what I saw on the internet because because usually when AEW hires an ex-WWE person, and especially if they're popular, it's always quote unquote a game changer. So when he got hired,
I wasn't familiar with them.
The part of the internet that I saw was like, oh, this is a game changer. He's a future AEW champion. WWE dropped the ball, etc., etc. So at least at least on my side of the internet, I saw it. But continue. That I was just
I wouldn't have put him in that list, not from the jump. I would have put like Keith Lee in that list. I put Malachi Black in that list as far as like not black champion, but just champion AEW. Andrade was in that list for me, but like I didn't see that with him. But so I'm very happy with the way he progressed into his superstardom. Now the thing is that like, where do you go from here? Because everybody talks about like having the belt, but like the hard part is like keeping it and being interesting and still maintaining to get over with the fans, especially when in 3 months or 4 months you're in fucking London and they know who they want to see get it.
Yeah.
Which I don't agree that like I don't think that that's who he will face at All In. I think he could really go a different direction.
Well, especially after this Wednesday,
it would be rushed for me. I think it would be too rushed to where you just like cut his reign short in 4 months because you don't really get to see how it fucking develops and whatnot.
Well, you're aware that's what transitional champion means, though, right?
Absolutely. But I don't know if they look at him. I don't know if you want your first black champion to be a transitional champion. That would be fucking weird.
Well, I have a small rant about how Dynamite starts because it's already giving that vibe to me.
We can get there. We'll get to Dynamite. We can talk about it. Overall, no matter how you may feel about like Swerve, it is really cool to see another black champion. I just think about like myself at like 8, 9, 10, 13 or whatever, where I'm looking like black superstars. It is really cool to see somebody have a fucking belt that looks like you. He joins the historic list. I think they showed out. I think they showed it online during the night of the pay per view. Like the list of black champions is very fucking small.
Yeah. Was he okay with this list or?
Bro, I can't fucking stand you. I really can't, bro. I can't, because you'll find it. You'll find the way to get in there and then throw it out. It's fucking crazy.
I'm just asking questions.
That's fucking hilarious, bro. Don't ever change for nobody, man. We will end it off here. Overall, I gave the pay-per-view a 4 out of 5. Really fucking dope pay-per-view. Highly suggest that you watch it. And in my opinion, AEW doesn't miss on pay-per-views. Like, I enjoy their pay-per-views a lot more than not a lot more, because WWE has some misses too, but I know what I'm getting with AEW. I know how many matches, I know the content I'm getting, so I'm okay with that.
Their pay-per-views perform a lot better than their TV does.
Way fucking better. But WWE TV kind of carries like their pay-per-views.
No, I was talking about their AEW's own TV. Like they
absolutely.
Their pay-per-view, like they do show out on their pay-per-views, which is why they're like almost like literally every pay-per-view, not every pay-per-view, every other pay-per-view is labeled as the greatest ever. And like if you look, like just looking at this card before the show even started, like you can tell it's like, oh,
it was stacked.
It should be a good show. You know, as long as nothing dumb happens and the booking isn't atrocious. And when I mean dumb, I mean like bad booking or like a horrific injury. You know, this should be it should be a great show. It just doesn't translate to their TV as much, which that is a problem. But
which is interesting.
It's really interesting because this week
when we talk about Dynamite, like this week, there's a lot of fucking story. I'm gonna break it down when we get to it, but there's a lot of story that's being told here. They're hearing people talk about story, and they're giving you stories.
Yes. But on the other side of that, it's the lowest ratings that they got since January of 2021. So insane. There's something's not connecting. Something's not clicking. It's just odd. I don't know.
It is, because the wrestling is great. Like if I was in St. Louis and I saw that, like that's money well spent. So I can never say that like the matches I see are like, damn, I wish I never paid for that shit. But like they have it. I just don't know. I don't know. I'm not in that field of analytics to figure out why the fuck shit ain't getting over.
I mean, it's just the booking. Tony Khan he doesn't have to go away, but he has to get rid of the pencil and get a PR team.
But if the pay-per-views are hitting, it's like his booking is working. I think it's something else. I don't know what it is. I have no idea why it's just not clicking, but because like the pay-per-views are bangers, we're getting good storylines and story like endings inside these pay-per-views. Like we got the Adam Cole shit with MJF, because at the time when that happened, that was a good part of the story. I won't talk about how Undisputed Kingdom developed, but at the time that was great. Joe turning was great. That's what gave us like Joe as champion, which by the way, shout out to fucking Samoa Joe for carrying that belt and like making it feel worthy. Like Joe elevated that belt with his mic skills, his in-ring ability, and him just being an overall professional with the fucking belt. Shout out to fucking Joe.